And thank you for joining us. Now, today we'll be talking about Haman, the Haman we read in the Quran. The Quran, chapter 40, verse 36, is telling us that Pharaoh instructed Haman to build a tower so that he will reach the ways. End of quote. And from what we have in history, Haman and Pharaoh and tower are three different events in three different centuries and completely something different. Let me explain to you. Pharaoh lived in Egypt and he lived in the 5th century BC, where he was responsible and holding the Israelites as slaves to his kingdom. That is Pharaoh's story. And that was in Egypt, as we know it, historically and even in the Bible. And then Haman lived in the present day Iran. It was formerly known as Persia during King Xerxes or Ahasuerus, who was the husband to Esther. Esther was a niece to Mordecai, whom Haman was having problems with because the Israelites were in Persia as slaves, remember? And therefore, Haman wasn't comfortable with what Mordecai and the Israelites were somehow enjoying in the land of Persia, current day Iran. Therefore, Haman planned all his wicked deed in order to affect the community of Israel. The aim was to destroy the Israelites. He just needed an approval from the king, King Ahasuerus or King Xerxes, otherwise known, to allow him do what he intended to do with the Israelite as a nation or as a community in the land. So that is the story of Haman and where Haman existed and under which leadership Haman was serving as an official. Now, the tower, which is called the lofty tower, was actually way back in Genesis chapter 11, and that happens in Babel. Yes, that happened in Babylon, the current day Iraq and other part of it. So this is, I actually find it difficult to situate in. I wish this is never in the Quran in this order, because the Quran is putting three different figures, different stories, and merge it into one, yet it wants us to believe or accept it as account of history narrated by a supposed Allah who is all-knowing, supposedly, who should have all the information that matters in this case. Now, how do you confuse or try to fuse together a historical event and with personalities that live about 1,000 years difference? In fact, 1,000 years and 1,000 miles away. Between Egypt and Iran, if you check, it's nothing less than 1,000 miles distance. So how could Pharaoh have ordered Haman to do that? Yeah, the Muslim scholars have tried to explain this error. Some have made so many efforts. Let me just read some of their comments so that you understand the effort made by some of them to explain this scandal made by the Quran. One of which is the tafsir around Haman by Ibn Kathir. He did claim that according to Ibn Kathir, there is no kind of evidence to prove that. In fact, according to Ibn Kathir, is that there was a Haman in Egypt. And there was a Haman in Egypt, not the same Haman that we have in history in the current day Iran or in Persia, as it were then. And we also have one of the Islamic scholar, Al-Jalalian, who said the towers was actually in Mesopotamia and all what have you. So the point is that it's completely the Muslim scholars actually realized that this was a scandal, and therefore they couldn't bear it. They looked for a way to explain it away, but it's unexplainable. You can't put this together and expect anybody to believe this, because everybody knows that the story of these personalities and these kingdoms happens and worked in different kind of centuries, different time, and different, in fact, far away. And that is all we could say for now. So, if you believe that Haman actually served under King Pharaoh, and that he actually built a tower, either of Babel or a lofty tower as it is called in the Quran, you can drop that in the comment section and then check history to support what you say, if history is on your side or otherwise. So that is it. Thank you for now.